Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to be drawing Static Wool's OCs. So I sketched them out in my Illo sketchbook, but I realized I was definitely going to need a lot larger paper, so I used this sketchbook and I'll put the dimensions on the screen. Now this is just a sketching paper, so hopefully the markers won't bleed too badly. But I started off with this blue color and I don't end up liking it and go over it with my acrylic markers, but this is how it starts. A little bit about Static Wool's OCs. This is Cara, and she is the singer of the band Graveyard Bash. And then there's Caesar, who is a bass, Nick, who is on drums, and Greta, who is a keyboardist. But in this case, I gave her like a keyboard guitar instead of just doing the actual keyboard because I was trying to integrate a piece of what they do into this drawing. Like Cara has a microphone, Caesar has a guitar, Nick has drumsticks, so I figured Greta could have a keyboard guitar. I aspire to have OCs like Static Wool does because I feel like they fit together so well, and I will take that into consideration when I'm creating my OCs. A lot of the Yahoo markers that I picked out in the beginning weren't the colors that I wanted, so I end up covering them up with my RTX acrylic markers, but here's where I went in with my 005 micron pen to do the kind of biker patch on the back. I redesigned Static Wool's logo for Graveyard Bash, and I did a gravestone and then a skull and then a rockin' skeleton hand. This was honestly the hardest part of the drawing because I had to draw so small for this patch. That's why I got my smallest micron pen, but I think it ended up turning out great. And I chose purple for the background on this one because I felt like Cara had a lot of purple in her, and I just felt like it was a fitting color for the band. So I first designed this patch in my other sketchbook, my Moleskin, and then I transferred it to this side because I wanted to work out all the kinks before I put it on this jacket. But I think it turned out great, and I really like the detail on the side of the jacket where I got the purple ties. Sorry if this turns out to be a long video. It took a lot of time because I put a lot of detail into it, and obviously it was a bigger piece of paper, so it might just end up being a longer video, and I hope y'all are okay with that. I did take a lot of inspiration from what Static Wool has posted her OCs in before. Like, I chose to do the really tall boots for Cara because she's had that in one of her past posts. And then I did the kind of tank top for Caesar and the white creamish color button up for Nick. And then for Greta, I did the frilly top. Her is the one I kind of experimented the most with because I saw this skirt on Pinterest, which I'll put in this video when I get to her, and I thought it would look so cute for her outfit, so that's what I chose to draw her in. My first goal with this piece was to just get the base layers down in marker and then go back with my acrylic markers and my colored pencils and kind of refine the details. So in this part, I just put down all the marker that I was going to have, and then I'll go back later and make it more refined into where I like it. I go in with marker first a lot of times because honestly, I don't feel like filling big spaces in with colored pencil because I feel like it uses the colored pencil up a lot more. I just like to add details and shading with colored pencil. In Static Wool's post, her tall boots were red and most of her outfit was red, but I wanted to do the boots purple because I feel like it matches with the patch and her hair better, so I did change that up a bit. And on a lot of these I changed small things, but I think it turned out great, and I'm honestly really happy with the sketch for this because it took me forever to do. So I have been a little bit stressed out trying to get this done before the deadline because I did want to participate in this challenge really badly because I love her OCs and I just had the best idea for this. So I have filmed 2 videos this weekend, and it's been a very full weekend. Obviously, this video is going out after the deadline, but I did complete this before the deadline. I try to stray away from using black in my pieces because there's not a lot of shading and stuff like that that you can do. So for the most part, I try to use a dark gray first and then go back in with black. But for Cara and Greta, I did use some black like for her pants and then Greta's romper thing. I used black because I felt like it was the color that I needed to use to make it look good. I do start off with gray first because you can always make things darker, but you can't make them lighter with alcohol markers. So I start with a light gray and then move from there and try not to use black, but if I have to, I do. So I hated the way her hair looked at this point. That made me grab my RTX acrylic purple marker and use that for her hair, and I think it turned out so much better. And then after I used the acrylic marker for her hair, I realized that her skin tone was not the skin tone I wanted, so I go back in and change that as well. I find it really easy to draw hair with these acrylic markers because you can just flick the brush and it makes really hair-like shapes. So I enjoy doing that. For Caesar, I wasn't quite exactly sure what his hair color was, so I just decided to do a skin tone and his hair color the same color for now, and then fix it later. This is an old hairstyle of his, but I really liked the mullet look on him, so I decided to use that one instead of his newer hairstyle. This ribbed knit tank top that he was wearing in one of the references of hers that I saw was so cool, so I felt like I had to incorporate it into this drawing. But I didn't want to draw his pants black because I already drew Cara's pants black, and they're right beside each other, so I thought it would look very weird and not detailed. So I decided to go with a brown instead. I don't know what color he actually wears for his pants because a lot of the pictures I do see of him only have the top half where I can see the shirt and up. But for Cara, she does have a lot of full body pictures, so that was nice to be able to get what she normally wears. So I hope I did Caesar, Nick, and Greta well too. I think the outfits I picked for them do fit them very well. So I forgot to mention, but Cara is a demon, Caesar is a vampire, Nick is a werewolf, and I think Greta is a necromancer slash witch. I really had fun drawing them in my own style as well and seeing all the different styles of other people recreating her OCs, and I just think it was so much fun to do this. And it tested me a lot because this is one of the largest pieces I've done in a while. So it was hard, but as I kept going, I got used to it and I was warming up and I felt better about it. Obviously, everybody's art has an ugly phase, and I think this is the part where mine went through an ugly phase by just putting down the colors first, but the more colors I put down, the better it got. Caesar still looks weird towards the end of me color blocking all this stuff just because I didn't do his hair yet, but other than that, I think it looks really good. The arms are kind of off on Nick. I think they're a little bit uneven. I should have moved them over to the right a little bit more. But these are small things that I think I could have done better, and I'm always going to have those in every piece that I do. I was debating for a while if I wanted to do a video on this because it does take me a while, and I was thinking of just getting it done and not recording because I feel like it takes me longer because I'm stopping recording, starting recording, and finding markers, and it just takes longer to do a piece when I am recording. So I thought about not doing it, but then I was thinking if I'm spending this much time in a piece to do this, I might as well film it, and I'm sure you guys would like to see it as well. I think this gray marker was starting to run out. Either that or the paper just really shows how streaky it is on this one. but I had to go over this twice because it looked so streaky and I just didn't like the way it looked. I think I will make his pants really close to black, if not black, once I put in all the details and stuff like that. And I did color over the chain, but I was thinking about getting my silver Posca and drawing that in at the end as well. For Greta, I colored the romper in black, and I know on Static Wool's pictures, the frilly undershirt is like a tan color, but I was really feeling purple since she has the purple hair, and I did Cara in purple. I think I needed to do her in purple because for Nick, I also colored his belt red so that he would kind of match with Caesar. I really like how Nick's hair turned out. It looks kind of messy but styled at the same time. And I did use a darker skin tone for him. I jump back and forth a lot in all my pieces, so I'm sorry if I give you whiplash from that. But sometimes I get bored doing one part, so I go to another, finish that, and then go back to what I was doing. As I was coloring in Greta, I realized that I hadn't finished Nick and it was bothering me. So I did the drumsticks, the hair, and the rest of the skin tone, and then I moved back to Greta. I don't know why, but I struggled the most to sketch her face out because it looks disproportionate to the rest of her body. And I still think it is a little bit smaller than I would like, but I wasn't going to mess with it more because I could tell the paper was starting to like peel, and I didn't want to ruin the paper because I had already done so much work and she was the last person, so I just left it how it was. But this skirt I will put on screen. It is so cute and I felt like it would fit her so well. Obviously, I had to change it up a bit because if I colored it all in black, then you wouldn't be able to tell that it was a skirt, but I'll add shading to it to where it looks a little bit darker. And I did the undershirt purple because I wanted there to be more purple in the piece since I didn't use any on Caesar or Nick, so that Cara wasn't standing out by herself. So I used Greta's shirt as purple, and I did a light purple because I knew I was going to be coloring her hair in a dark purple, so I didn't want there to be no contrast. But for her skin tone, I did use this pink color. I think the color is R20 in my Copic Chow markers, and I think it fit her very well. I used a different skin tone for each person. Of course, Cara was blue. Caesar was my lightest pale skin tone. I think it was like E00. And then Nick, I used in a hoo-hoo marker, and that one I think was YR4 if you're wanting to use the same colors. And then yeah, Greta's was a more pinky skin tone, and I think it looked really good with her pink and purple hair. It just made everything come together, and I wanted it to make it seem like she had tights under this romper skirt thing. So after I went in with the skin tone, I did go over that with the light purple and then went over it with the skin tone again to blend it in better, and I really enjoy how this looked. I'm not the best at drawing shoes though, so hers were very simple because I was getting burnt out after drawing Cara's and Caesar's, and Nick's were simple. I just did like a brown boot, but hers I couldn't be bothered to try to put the detail into it, so they're just black shoes. I used this pinky acrylic marker because I didn't really want to use purple or black or white again, so I just ended up going with that, and I really like the color. So then I started drawing her hair. I added in the pink first, of course, because I feel like purple's easier to add to the rest of it, so add the details, and then I went in with this purple. The purple I wanted her bangs to stand out a little bit more, so I went back in with a tiny bit darker purple over the other parts and then used a lighter purple for the bangs so that when I did the line art, I wasn't confused on where they at and it didn't look like one big blob. So I don't know if you can tell from the video that there are two different purples, but I can if I look closely, and it's just going to help me later when I do line art. So the last steps for this piece were putting in all the line art and detailing this piece. So I started off with Kara's hair and her skin. I used a dark blue for that. I tried to use a dark purple on her hair, but it didn't stand out enough, and so I just ended up using the same blue. I have to say the boots were probably my favorite part to draw and color in, just because they were really fun in a simple way, and I didn't feel like it took forever to draw them. And I took the idea from Static Wool's picture. She was wearing like a one piece that was red and then really high knee-high boots. So I thought that I could do that, just make them purple in this piece. I have to say, I think the jacket was my favorite part just because I did put so much detail into the patch, and I was thinking about doing it black, but then I did her pants black, so I decided to do it just a really dark gray instead. But if you're wondering what art supplies I'm using, as always, they will all be linked in the description down below. For Caesar's hair, most of the references I used didn't have color, but the couple that I did find that did have color showed that his hair was kind of a sandy blonde, more brown, so I went with that route. And I know I said this before, but I did draw Caesar with his old hair because I love a good mullet and couldn't give up the chance of drawing one. In the colored picture as well, it did show that Caesar had a red shirt on, so I decided to keep that the same, but I didn't know what color his pants were because I think it was just a torso picture. So I just went with brown because I felt like that looked the best, and because I knew Nick was going to have a cream colored shirt, I thought that that would look great because I wanted them to be similar but not the same, kind of like how Kara and Greta are similar but not the same. The guitar was by far the hardest part to draw because the strings are not straight, so don't come at me in the comments, I already know. It's just the best I could do. I didn't feel like getting out a ruler, so that's where we're at. I also made his shoulder to elbow way too long, so just ignore that. I'm struggling with anatomy lately, but I don't think it turned out awful. It's just not exactly how I wanted it to, and his arm definitely looks a little long. The sad thing is, I think I was looking forward to drawing him the most, and he turned out to be probably my least favorite of the whole group. As far as designing outfits, I really like Kara's jacket, but I absolutely love Greta's whole outfit. And this drawing took me many days to complete because I remember one weekend doing the sketching and then through the week doing all the coloring. Because I have a full-time job, I can only spend an hour or two each afternoon working on it. So it did take me a while to finish this. But obviously I finished it within the deadline and I was kind of rushing myself, which is probably why stuff didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. But overall, I like how it turned out. And I normally love drawing hands, but I think that's because I draw them on a larger scale than this, because on this piece, they all looked way too small proportionally to the people. So I'm really sad about that, because Caesar's hand looks like a baby's hand, and I hate it, but it's okay. I just wanted to say again how cool these OCs are because Static Wool put the time into making them and turning them into a band, and I think they turned out really, really cool, and they were fun to draw. Even though it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to, props to her for creating these great OCs. I will definitely be looking at how other people develop their OCs for my help in the future for developing mine. And just how they draw certain things. I want to eventually do a draw this in your style for my OCs, but I don't have them completely ironed out yet. So when I do that, I will definitely put it on here for y'all to draw along with me. I'm honestly thinking about changing Zariah's braids just because I have so much trouble drawing braids that I should probably try a different hairstyle before I just give up on drawing her completely. And of course, here's my black color pencil breaking once again. I'm not gonna lie, I've been finding it hard to find time to draw lately, and I don't think this big of a piece helped that fact just because it took so long. Like normally when I'm drawing, it's in my sketchbook and I just do a quick sketchbook session and then I'm done. And lately, I've just been so tired when I get home from work that I honestly haven't been feeling like doing anything but going to sleep. And if you've noticed at this point, yes, Caesar does not have pupils in his eyes. I didn't like how they looked. He kind of looked cross-eyed, so I whited that out, and I don't think I fixed it till towards the end because I honestly forgot about it myself. And honestly, it's been kind of sad because I have had the motivation to create. I've just been way too exhausted. And that is honestly the worst because I feel like I rarely have the motivation to want to draw or do that. So when I do, I try to take advantage of it, but I've just been so exhausted. This past week has been super busy. So hopefully when it slows down, I'll be able to create more. I've been wanting to do a video where you guys pick what I draw, so if you have any ideas, leave them down in the comments below. I know this video is all over the place, and I feel like I've used every single art supply that I own, but I do greatly appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure to go check out Static Wool's channel, of course, so you can see some of these OCs in her style. So anyways, I don't really feel like talking about this drawing anymore, so let's talk a little bit more about me. I did get to see the Minecraft movie recently, and I thought it was really funny. I do play Minecraft, so I was able to make connections between the stuff that happens. There is some spoilers ahead. I was disappointed that they didn't defeat the Ender Dragon, but since at the end they do introduce Alex, maybe they will defeat the Ender Dragon in the second movie. I'm interested to see how the stronghold will look and stuff like that, but I thought the movie was funny, and my dad watched it with me, and he hasn't played Minecraft before, and he thought the movie was funny, so I feel like even whether you play it or not, you will enjoy it. But yeah, that's what I've done recently, and that's something that I really enjoy doing is going and watching movies with my family. Let's see, what else is happening? I am currently training for a 5K that's in November, and I am not a runner, so this should be very interesting. The reason I'm doing that is because two of my friends really do like to run, and they were wanting me to run with them. So we'll see how this goes. A 5K is also 3 miles, and I can probably hardly run one at the moment, but we'll train for it. I've got plenty of time. It's in November, so I'll let y'all know how that goes after that's done. I am absolutely not a cardio girly. I am more the type to lift weights. So I am very interested to see if I can even run 1 mile and if I can get close to having a good time when I do end up running the 5K. But anyways, I'm running out of time. This is one of the last things that I do other than putting the names on there. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and here's the finished piece.